What's up, guys? This is Jack McNeil, or LB Talk 123 here. Hope you guys are having a great night and have enjoyed these last few days of the winter meetings. I have had a lot of fun those last few days. Just very hectic. Staying up till 1:30, just checking Twitter constantly, looking for updates, hoping that a blockbuster is almost done or done by the winter meetings. You want to see 3 or 4 teams get involved in a trade. Not necessarily do you want to see the Rangers kind of be in control, complete monopoly over what all teams can do. And that's kind of what happened. Yes, a lot of small market teams made deals for free agents, as we saw, right before the winter meetings leading up to it, with guys like Russell Martin, other guys. There was a lot of bullpen moves needed to be made, and a lot were made. You saw the Cardinals had really one sole goal to upgrade their middle infield and get lefty relief help. They did that. The Red Sox really did help their bullpen out by getting Koji Hera today. The Rays had a sole goal of getting offense, and they did that in the sense of James Loney and Escobar. There's a lot of teams that I think did what they wanted to do going into the winter meetings, but although a lot of teams did make huge improvements, and there were some upgrades, and of course there are some big deals, one being made today with the Ben Revere being traded to the Phillies, the Rangers pretty much have a monopoly on what other teams can do because they are involved in so many different possible deals, unless they do decide to go one route with Justin Upton and Zach Grienke or go another route with Josh Hamilton. Either way, it affects the market tremendously, with outstanding free agents that have yet to sign, and mostly with Zach Grienke with pitchers. So we're going to see a huge shift in the market, and watch out for the Dodgers if they don't sign Zach Grienke. They're going to sign Anibal Sanchez and anyone else who they can get their hands on. I guess would be Kyle Loesch. But, there's a lot to be discussed, and there's a lot to be dealt with here. But the winter meetings did kind of get into that. There's a lot of complications within these deals. 4 or 5 year deals take a while to, create and make sure everything is finalized, with a lot of prospects going different directions, whether they're going to Cleveland or elsewhere. And that's another team that probably didn't do what they needed to do this winter meetings. They needed to find offense. They really didn't do that, except they have put themselves in a position to potentially make a huge blockbuster deal and maybe sign guys like Nick Swisher. So we'll see what happens there. But before the slideshow changes to a new pitcher, I do want to be able to talk a little bit about Ben Revere going to the Philadelphia Phillies. Don't mind this picture of Joe Madden or Andrew Friedman. He was a great GM, and I want to say this before we talk about the Ben Revere thing. I think that he does get the award for GM of the winter meetings. He was able to acquire offense at a low price, such in James Loney at $2 million for 1 year. Only he would be able to find a deal like that. And he is a Rays prototypical first baseman. Low power, decent average. Yes, we've seen Carlos Pena there. Don't get me wrong, 30 home runs, but it comes with a lot of strikeouts. So I think this is a perfect fit for the Rays. It's a Casey Kotchman type of guy, except Casey Kotchman, I think he's probably a better hitter. But James Loney still has some potential there, and maybe he can fill out his, some of his expectations, I would say, in Tampa Bay. I think Joe Madden would be a great manager for him. Then they went out and they acquired Escobar. And at the price of all these middle infielders and Jack Hanrahan potentially getting a multi-year deal and having a bidding war, and the Yankees losing Eric Chavez and Jeb Kempinger to all these different teams, you're having 2 or 3 year deals for 37-year-olds. I mean, the free agent market, let's just face it, it's absolutely ridiculous. That's why people are turning to trades, and it's great for the free agents. And I think some of the deals are not huge overpays, but most of them are definitely inflated. I've been saying that this whole time, and it hasn't changed. But when you look at the Rays that they're able to acquire Escobar, who, yes, I don't think that many people like him that much. But listen, Joe Madden, I think, will make him a respectable player. Escobar is a very talented player. His defense can be very good. His offense can be extremely good. This guy was a 250 hitter last year, but has hit, right around 300 a few years. I mean, this guy, I think it could be a 275 hitter for the Rays. Could be a good defensive player and definitely an upgrade over Reed Briniak and Sean Rodriguez for the Tampa Bay Rays. And they got him at a cheap price, too. So this lineup is a lot better. They're still looking to a lot of deals. And if there is going to be a blockbuster, expect them to be involved in one. Or potentially, I think the Mariners are probably a better fit to be involved, because the Mariners have more motivation to go out and get maybe someone like Derek Holland, or go out and get a bat somewhere. They have more motivation, in my mind, to do so. And guys like Josh Hamilton have really made this market stagnant, in the sense that they've really held up the market. And it's not just Josh Hamilton, it's the Texas Rangers that have held up the market. They're deciding whether to go the route of Josh Hamilton and maybe trying to trade for first baseman or, whatever they're going to do about first base, or go the route of Zach Grienke. Now, Josh Hamilton is trying to get, obviously, as big a deal as possible. He's talking to the Mariners about a 3-year deal. I predicted he would sign with the Mariners. Then I thought I was wrong on that prediction. So, of course, I went with the whole, I think he'll return to Texas. But while I was saying that, little did we know that GMs were talking in their suites and had been talking about a Justin Upton deal. And, of course, we knew the Rangers were extremely interested in Justin Upton, but I saw Justin Upton more likely staying in, Arizona, while the Diamondbacks for sure would trade Jason Kubel and get a nice pickup there. I just didn't see them trading Justin Upton unless they got what they really wanted, which they want to improve on shortstop and pitching in a deal. And unless there's 3 or 4 teams, they're not going to be able to do that because one team, unless you're the Texas Rangers, cannot provide that for you. But, even the Rangers were not willing to give up Elvis Andrus or Jurickson Profar. So it leads me to keep talking about shortstops. Asdrubal Cabrera is going to be traded. I say that with a 90% certainty. The Indians have guys waiting in the wing. They have prospects waiting in the wing. They don't need, Asdrubal Cabrera, and they even signed Mike Aviles as complete insurance. Also, Asdrubal Cabrera could be moving to third. He's not great defensively overall. He has a pretty good bat. It's getting too expensive, and the Indians could really take advantage of that and move their club in a completely new direction, getting young talent, young pitching, Martin Perez type of pitching, and then going out and signing Nick Swisher. It'd be an odd combination for going the kind of rebuilding style of trying to pick up as many prospects for Asdrubal Cabrera, and then at the same time going for a franchise-type player for the Indians, a big free agent sign, making a splash in Nick Swisher. Now, I had kind of predicted the Mariners would also sign Nick Swisher, but of course they're not going to sign Josh Hamilton and Nick Swisher. So, again, I could see the Mariners being a great fit for Nick Swisher, but if they do sign Josh Hamilton, obviously there's no chance. So a lot of things are relying on Josh Hamilton, where he does go, and really more importantly on the Texas Rangers, whether they decide they can get a deal done with Justin Upton. It might take a week or two, or if they do go ahead and sign Josh Hamilton. And they're an extreme, intense bidding war right now between the Dodgers, which is extremely crazy if you think about it. But I think the Dodgers would be fine saying, you know what, okay, let's get Anibal Sanchez and Kyle Loesch and move on. So getting back, finally, I'm sorry, Philly fans, if you're watching this thinking I was going to talk about it right away. Getting back to the Ben Revere trade, he was acquired today by the Philadelphia Phillies. I thought this was a fantastic move for the Phillies for the player they acquired, not necessarily for the players they did give up. But you have to understand again, his value does not just come in to, his potential and how good of a player is he. He has fantastic speed, over 40 stolen bases, right around 40, 294 batting average. This is a guy who not only can provide great defense in a pretty, spacious outfield, but can also run the bases extremely well. It gets the club younger. It gets them more athletic. It really does provide a great boost for the Philadelphia Phillies, and the main thing is does it in an affordable way. He hasn't even hit arbitration yet. He's under team control till like 2017. This is a guy who's going to be very cheap for the Phillies, and it is a very important thing for them to do because they have so many expensive pieces on that team. If they can somehow find a way to trade Cliff Lee to a team like the Dodgers and cut out $10-15 million, they are going to be ready to contend again because, yes, they do have a little bit of money to spend, and they're going to be very aggressive on a guy like Josh Hamilton now that there's an open shot for him. And not only that, there's an open shot for them on a 3 or 4 year realistic deal, not a 7 to 8 year deal. They can go out and offer them big money for 3 years, get their fans interested, and potentially win this NL East or at least get to the wild card. The Nationals look just extremely good, balanced all around. And really, Ben Revere, he's very comparable to a guy like Juan Pierre. His numbers are, at least, at that age in his career. So when you look at him and, you see the Phillies gave up Vance Worley, a great pitcher, and then another top pitching prospect, Trevor May, you see it's kind of a lot to give up. But you see the value in, how many years and how low, salary it will be. So I think it's a good deal for the Phillies. Now, as much as I like the deal for the Phillies, I really do. I think that the Twins did get the better half of the deal. Yes, the Twins will miss Ben Revere, but listen, the Twins traded Denard Span and Ben Revere. I love both those moves for the Twins. I think they could have got more out of Denard Span, considering he has like 3 years left on the contract. This is a great leadoff hitter, has some power, has experience, and is a proven 300 hitter. But They traded him. They got a very good young pitching prospect in Alex Myers. Let him develop. Well, they trade Ben Revere, and they get a very good pitcher in Vance Worley and another very good pitching prospect in Trevor May. So, by doing those deals, they now have 3 potential pitchers for the starting rotation in the next 2 or 3 years. Vance Worley can slide in right away. Now, the Twins obviously needed pitchers. They're going after Sean Markham. They're going after free agents. If they can find a way to, there's some notion that they could be on Brett Myers and other guys. I heard that potentially the Royals think that they've signed or pretty much have in the bag 3 starting pitchers. So it doesn't look like the Royals will go with that James Shields deal if that report was correct. But, you see a team like the Twins absolutely need pitching, and I think they do it in a pretty smart way. They realize, you know what, the Tigers are looking very competitive. The White Sox are looking very good. How are we going to get this team back to its glory days? We need pitching, and we need young pitching, and getting Alex Myers with tremendous potential, getting Vance Worley, and then getting Trevor May. There's high ceilings for all of them. These are all guys that will add to the rotation if you can complement that with some homegrown talent. In a few years, maybe Byron Buxton or other top prospects. They have a prospect that can take their center field spot. He, played Double-A this year. He got to Double-A, so we'll see what happens. But the Twins could look at free agency. You never know. I mean, they're going to need some players to bridge into their years of competitiveness again, which, I think the Twins will be a good team this year, but, giving away 2 starting outfielders is tough. Now, I'm going to do a quick rundown of all the deals in about a minute and 30 seconds, say 1 or 2 things, then say the GM award of the winter meetings and the best value signs. All right, so the Braves sign Reed Johnson. Great sign there. They need some outfield depth, especially after getting a guy like B.J. Upton, spending so much money on him, not leaving much for the rest. So he's a perfect candidate for the center field option there. Can play multiple positions. Great sign for them. Red Sox, in my opinion, this might be the value sign of the winter meetings. Getting Koji Hera, he's a fantastic reliever. He really is. He's a little older. He's a very good specialist. Can go in for an inning. He'll go in the 7th inning most likely. And this Red Sox bullpen, it was not very good last year. Now has Andrew Bailey healthy. Now has him. They can complement it. They're looking a lot better. I'll say that. They're very improved. Of course, we talked a lot about the Phillies, so we can move on to there. But, I thought that was a great trade, and now I think they'll go hard on a right fielder. Maybe a guy like Nick Swisher, maybe a guy like Josh Hamilton. Okay, the Cubs. They stole another potential Yankee. Nate Scherholz will be very good depth until Brett Jackson can come up in the major leagues and is ready. So a good signing for the Cubs. They have money to spend. Why not? The Angels signed Joe Blanton and show that they are not going to go for Zach Grienke. So pretty much a trade getting Grienke. They don't make the playoffs. Just giving up a lot of prospects. Tough luck, really, at this point. It's really hard to bid out the Dodgers and now the Rangers. So the Angels, a nice number 5 starter there. I thought it was kind of crazy. He got a 2-year deal worth $15 million, but, it's a very inflated pitching market. Moving on to another player and another team that is holding up the line here, the Diamondbacks. Whether to trade Justin Upton, whether to trade Jason Kubel. If they're going to trade one of them, it's going to be Kubel. He doesn't really fit offensively with the team, even though he's a great offensive player. He's not the type of Diamondback that you would assume. A lot of people were surprised when they signed him. They have Parra who can take his place. So they're going to trade either Kubel or Upton. They need pitching, and they need shortstop help. They really do need shortstop help. They could go to Japan and sign a free agent, but I think they'll probably make a trade for Jubal Cabrera, maybe for some pitching prospects. They've been shopping Trevor Bauer. That's a whole other story, but they did sign Eric Chavez, a very nice addition there. Third base, can platoon, has experience, has some power. Great signing, wants to play near to his home. And the Yankees, again, lost a very good opportunity to get someone to play third base until A-Rod can come back, and at a price that would be affordable for the Yankees. It's weird saying that, but the Yankees don't have much money. That's a whole other story in itself, and we had Incarcerated Bob, actually a Yankees fan, come on and talk about that a little bit in the last podcast. But moving on, the Rockies signed Jeff Francis. Good move for them. He's been a Rocky multiple times. Seems like they're always in the market for him. There's always a team that wants him. It's been the Royals, the Rockies, the Cardinals had interest last year. Now it's the Rockies again. They do re-sign him. Nice addition. They still need a lot more pitching. The Pirates, of course, with the Russell Martin, they also acquired Andy Oliver, a pretty good reliever there. I don't know if that signifies they're willing to trade a guy like Joel Hanrahan now. Jason Grilli is close to a decision whether he goes back to the Pirates or goes to the Cubs. I could see him going to the Pirates or the Cubs at this point. Maybe a surprise team there. The Angels add to their bullpen, make it a very good bullpen, getting Sean Burnett. This is a lefty guy who does very well versus lefties and righties. And a 2-year, $8 million deal is actually a pretty affordable cost. $4 million a year. That's Octavio Dotel cost. You know, his club option was like 3.5. So really, he's not getting too much other than another guaranteed year. The Cardinals solved the problems with the lefty specialist, getting what they thought was the best lefty on the market in Randy Cho. Even though he's a little older, he has better numbers against lefty than anyone else. Now, the Mariners